Locho sampo pagyo trashipa tuche tempe tinle yarngoda Helge drolor zambe zeparache Palden lame shabla solvade Omo a guru vajra dara suma timo nisha sane karma uta varda nishri badra varsa manya sarva siddhi hum Om a guru vajra dara suma timo nisha sane karma uta varda nishri badra varsa manya sarva siddhi hum Om Guru Vajradhar Suma Timo Nisha Sane Karma Uta Vardhanya Shri Bhadra Varsa Manya Sarva Siddhi Hum Om Guru Vajradhar Suma Timo Nisha Sane Karma Uta Vardhanya Shri Bhadra Varsa Manya Sarva Siddhi Hum Om Dara Suma Timo Nisha Sane Karma Uta Vardhanya Shri Bhadra Varsa Manya Sarva Siddhi Hum Om Guru Vajradhar Suma Timo Nisha Sane Karma Uta Vardhanya Shri Bhadra Varsa Manya Sarva Siddhi Hum Om Guru Vajradhar Suma Timo Nisha Sane Karma Uta Vardhanya Shri Bhadra Varsa Manya Sarva Siddhi Dagi Jetsun Lama Tuje Che Nyamda Dala Tuje Sikso So Gebe Shesan Dala Tendo So Uyon Sungi Nawa Tsedo So Teche Nyingne Sowa Debe Tse Dechen Korlo Viso Lekshione Ila Sambe Dede Malepa Gemel Hungi Dubra Jingelo Sonyi Soda Dikdun Shabe Tse Dungi Namge Yinso Lekshione Labchen Sonyi Yonso Zobadan Chiranye Dun Chamra Jingelo Chancho Parge Nitsen Tukun Tu Nyu Peme Sivro Lekshun Chancho Drube Gegen Kunshishi Tungen Dela Drubra Jingil Dagi Lona Chola Chobadan Chumi Samjur Ngimba Shiwat Chodan Tumbe Dede Malupa Bemel Hungi Drubra Jingil Dorna Tengne Tsera Tamchedan Teche Pardo Nekav Tamchet Rese Kemne Lama Kele Me Tukje Chingi Dala Sikso Gongyab Rewe Nyamda Dachala Chitsun Lame Tuche Rabgong Kodan Sunge Nawa Drame Tu Nyamsun Yongwe Kesan Toprash Kewa Kundu Yanda Lama Dan Rame Cheki Pela Longchech Sadan Lamge Yunde Rabzon Dorje Changi Koban Nyur Tobo Shon Hakyuke Kudandagi Lo Hakyuke Sundandagi Hakyuke Tudandagi Teyerme Chiktu Jingialo Hakyuke Kudan Dhagilu Hakyuke Sundandagi Hakyuke Tudan Dhagi Teyerme chik tu jingi long ma kyu ke kudang da gi lung ma kyu ke son da gi nga ma kyu ke tu dang da gi tön yerme chik tu jingi along Om Muni Mahamuni Shakyamuni Soham Om Muni Mahamuni Shakyamuni Soham Om Muni Mahamuni Shakyamuni Swaha. Good morning. So we'll start with the first part of the recitation of the Guru Puja. As we're going to be explaining the Guru Puja, we will recite until the point where we have arrived in the explanation. Then after we'll go through the introduction and explanation and everything else. Okay? So verse number 1 of the Guru Puja. Deche ngale rani lama laya kande selve kule ve serzo chochur trepe ne chu chin la pe taparam jamba shi yun denki köpe kepa pun sum tso par kyur Rab karge sen chembe ngang ni le Dadang kanya mage sim che nam Tene chi se chancho ning po par Lama kuncho sum la kyab su udro Namo Guru Obye Namo Buddhaya Namo Dharmaya Namo Sanghaya Namo Gurubhye Namo Buddhaya Namo Dharmaya Namo Gaya Yamasem Chen Kungi Tengi Chir Dani Lama Largyurne Sem Chen Tam Che Lama Lai Ko Pancho La Ko Parcha Ma Sem Chen Kungi Tengi Chir Dani Lama Largyurne Sem Chen Tam Che Lama Lai Ko Pancho La Ko Parcha Ma Sem Chen Kungi Tengi Chir Dani Lama Har Gyurne Sem Chen Tam Che Lama Hai Ko Pan Chola Kupa Archa Maya Sem Chen Tam Che Ge Tundu Dagi Tsedi Nila Nyurwa Deme Sangye Lama Lai Ko Pa Ngundu Che Ma Sem Chen Tam Che Dunga Le Dre De Chen Sangye Gi Sala Kwe Pracha He Chirto Lam Samo Lama Lai Nel Chura Nyam Su Lang Wara Gi Omo Ahum Omo Ahum Omo Ahum Ngowo Yeshe La Namba Nanche Dan Che Ze So So Namba Chele Wambo Drugi Che Yudu De Dung Yeshe Gebra Chen Gebe Sadam Pana Nange Kyen Tam Che Yonsu Kyabe Chinasa Chitrin Tam Ze Chen Ze Samge Mi Kyabe Khankyu Te Ton Yerme La La Kun san che tin tri pe wo lo ma me to tre bu yun ze do gu pa sam chen pe do nga ba Sangye kun ngo nam pa ngur me tsim pe ge lon she chi cha ni zum kar dro cha ye che yun pa nyam sha du tse kan we long se nang kur kun dam cho ge sum so ser do pen she u lat tu kar kyab da dor che changwa she chi chani ku do ngo do ri song ne yin chu mar kyu lhen ke de ton rol be ge na ma rin ch gen ge tre shin la tse da ge na tse Sempe gen den we ser ton pa cha tse na nge korwe we dor che kil tron sol ge shu pe pung bo nam da de shen kam shi yum shi ke che tsa ge tsin an chan chu sem pa ngo pa bu tra chom ni tri chik tong yen la tro wo wang bo ni we ser chuk ne jin san wa chik ten pa na shap ta ko rin sh ngo kyu la ma yi dam kin ko la tso dan san ge chan se pa wo kan ro ten song gya tso kor ne de tar go sum dor je sum tse hong ge we ser cha gyu ran shin ene ye she pan chen ra yer me ten par kyu pinso de le chune tu sum ge tsa gyu la ma yi dan kun cho sum pa wo kan ro cho gyon sum che tu che wang yi dir she ten par shu che na ran shin ro wo kun re ya na tso du che sam pa chi chi rian char we ken se trin le chen kya kun tam pa kor che shek su Omo Guru Buddha Bodhisattva Dharma Pala Saparyo Ya Hiza Humbam Yeshe Pana Tamse Niso Me Pare Kyur Kange Tuje Dewa Chimboyi Kusongo Panche Gyanke Tila Chatse Lama Rinchen Tabuku Dorje Chensha Pemo Chatse Lo Rabchan Gyalwa Kunge Yeshen Kandu Chiryan Charwe Salke Cho Murmi zimbe kargi nero wa kyabkun dambe shabla chatse lo nyekun pacha cheba chuchunsh pame yundin rinchen sogite pende malu jungwe goche po jetsun lame shabla chatse lo arche temba sangye kunge ngo getri shidon tamcho jungwen Patso kungi una lange wa tinchen lama namla chatselo. Tusum chochuru shube lama da rinchen chosum chawe tamchela. Techi mebe tuyang gyaso che shindo nyambe ludru chatselo. Kyabgun jetsun lama korchela. Nazo churin gyazo bulwani. Kwele rinchen weba nuyale. Dache duzi chushi degipa. Dombo sima tenwa pele pa tsebe medo sadam parnaka. Tishin peke duba bendorye yarke ngombo trige lalante. Norbo rab karatome tso tonso mese vese tsegago. Gabo tsenden kurkon trigo pe pechun tsochen koryo kuneki. Roge chuden sacha tunwa dan lhada mi shase lumbopo. Natso romo chedan danyele chungwe danye gyue sasongwe. Sutra tiro rekche pe simpe chinan dunyo lhamu chukun kyam. Sa shi pe ki chu shi me to chan re rab ling shi ni de gen pa di san ge shin tu mi te ulwar ki Drokun nam da shin la che par shoya che watra ge lin she lumbro che rinchen dunda nyewe rinchen so kunga gebe ne che penson so lami long cho de ge terchembu dawe semge pulchun shinge cho kyabkon toche chen la ulwa rage ye dam guru radna mandra kam niryata yami ngo shan yi zhu yi shin gya tso ngo si she nam kara lewa chen tsengi dado gebe kunge yi zhu shin chikden chikden le de rang shingi gosong gewe medo chi antra kun san chebe trin so bum zhu shin Lapso rimni lange drende pe gatsen chetsun lama ni chibu. Purgun damde sambu tringe chen roge pe zenge che tunga dan. Chakyo nga dan drima nga laso chandun barwe dutsi gyatso cho. I on latso palzin truchun shin debe gyutse la. Shinge nga ge lenge ponye tso tsedo gyume chakya nangyabul. Timde lenge dewe yeshe che chugu rangshin tongdan dewe yerme lundru masam jole de tenda chanchu simcho kyolabul nyomo shigya tsashi ne jope sambo mingi chera natsoda kene gichira darren bulana namkara jesim baso sondo soyo tome dune mige dikpele gidan gitse yiran chichipa Toje chenren chengara gyosemgi shakshin lenche migi domban chana ranshin tsema danre ya milam jishin keba tamchegi dega chiryan charwe namkrala dacha samba taupe irang Pulchun kenze chunzin bumrite taye drodi pende kundetse keda yundu nedan pewe chir sabge chegi charba dorje kola keche mingaya Suncho wangge Dacha meba jishin site bara nyange mida tabra shoso so Tedra trumpe namkara kewe tso katrin sumden chetsun lama Tera kunto drame chezinchi Suncho dorche chanwa top chi ringo yunden chume tsurin gatso che mangdo norbu tsoge yonsu ta Urme zimba tongwa nipe che neden duwa zinla sowa de Kandan dena devra shekpe lan Tumbra webe yunden chuden pa Malyo gyalwe dutso chogi che Tekcho gewe shela sowa Gosum ledan lochin sudi Ridan cheke pe dorje zimbe tsola sowa de Sangye trame chembe matulwe Maron duke nikdu drwala Deshe lamsa chishin tenpayi Kyabkon toche chenla sowa Tube nima tuge nubgyurute Gongya mebe drwa mambola Gyawe tseba nyura dru tsepe, kyabgon tuje chenla sawade, gyawa tamche la, kange babu puga chitsaye, dacha senam shindu lenga pe, kyabgon tuje chenla sawade. Korlo ni tabge gyuru drawe chugele, tame tsugi drowa drenzepe, kyabgon tuje chenla sawade. Pungan keche yan la nan, deshe ringa yabyun senpa dan, trove wambo ranshin chosumgi, danyi lama chola sawade, kunge yeshe reba le chungwe, kingoro korlo chewe danyi te, rige kyabta dorje zimbe so, suncho tambo gun la sawade, time linge gawe reba dan, yerme tenyo kungya kungi da, toma tatre kunsan tundamgi, chancho semo kyo la solwade. Kyunyi lama kyuni yidam kyuni kandro che kyonte tene sonte chancho pardo Kyamin kyavshemi tsolwe Didam pardo cimetaryan Toce chagyu son solam Si shi chi trol ngodrub kun sol Tengi trozo pacho sum Kyuni lama kyuni yidam Kyuni kandro chegyonte Tene sonte chancho pardo Kyamin kyavshemi tsolwe Didam pardo cimetaryan Toje chagyu son tsola Si shi jik trol Ngodru kun sol Tengi trozo pacho sum Kyuni lama kyuni yidam Kyuni kandro chegyonte Tene sonte chancho pardo Kyamin kyavshemi tsolwe Didam pardo cimetaryan Toje chagyu son solam Si shi jik trol Ngodruba kun sol Tengi trozo pacho son Eterlen son sol wata petu La me ko son toge ne namle Du tsive ser karmar tinka son Rim dan chik char chung ne dani ki Ne som rim dan chik char timbale Drip shi tak chinam da wang shi top Ku shi top chin lama ni ba shik Ge shin timpe jingi la pare kyo chodan tsoge chonam la chancho pardo dani kyapsu chi dagi chushe gibe sonam gi rola pinchire sangye druparasho sangye chodan tsoge chonam la chancho pardo dani kyapsu chi dagi chushe gibe sonam gi rola pinchira sangye druparasho sangye chedan tsoge chonamla chancho pardo dani kyapso chi dagi chushe gibe sonamgi rola pinchira sangye druparasho. In Buddha, Dharma and Sangha, I take refuge into enlightenment. Through the practice of generosity and the other perfections, may I attain Buddhahood for the benefit of all sentient beings. Very often, when we look within Buddhist teachings, we think about Buddhist teachings as something that I have already spoken many times and many of us have repeated, and we know very well that the main aspect of Buddhist teachings is to develop our qualities such as love and compassion and wisdom, and to eliminate our defilements such as anger and jealousy and pride and miserliness and so on and so on. This is something that it's quite clear for us, I think. And then within that, we give a lot of importance very often to the whole philosophical aspect and sometimes to the more, let's say, psychological aspect inside Buddhism. And sometimes I have the sensation that some people have the tendency to reduce actually Buddha's teachings and practice within only this aspect, where actually there is more. Sure, the objective is, okay, I need to develop my inner qualities such as love and patience and compassion. I need to eliminate my own defilements. This is our main objective. This is no doubt. But in order to do that, there are some methods that we can use. This is one thing. And one time I was discussing with my mother about the differences between psychology and Buddhism and so on, like more in a more general level, without going into the very specific things. And then we got to the conclusion, which is one of the main differences, that the objective of psychology is to bring the person to a state of emotional balance, which is wonderful. The objective in Buddhism is once we reach an emotional balance, is to develop our qualities at their maximum potential. So actually, having an emotional balance within psychology is the goal, is where we reach, is the final point of arrival. The final point of arrival is developing an emotional balance. Within Buddhism, an emotional balance is the start point. Okay, it is an arrival, but once we have reached that, it is a start point to develop our qualities to their maximum potential, to develop great love that is unconditional love, to develop a wisdom through which we can experience reality in a way which is coherent with what reality actually is. So, this is something that sometimes it creates some little difficulties, I see, because there are some teachings, actually quite many teachings sometimes, that the way how the teaching is giving, it's taking for granted somehow, or is using as a basis a person with already a very mature emotional state. And very often we are not at that point. So sometimes it happens that we say, the teachings don't work so well, because basically we are trying to do something without having the basis that we need to have before. This is one other aspect, okay? But the main thing here is that when actually we say to develop our qualities to their maximum potential,
we may ask ourselves, do we really want it? If we can make the other question, which is, why have I not reached enlightenment up to now? I believe that the main answer why we have not reached enlightenment is the simple fact that we don't want. Not we don't want in the sense that we see it as something negative. We don't want to reach enlightenment basically because we do not believe in it. We don't think it exists somehow. Or we think it exists but that we are not capable of reaching it, most probably. Because, someone may say, I believe in enlightenment, wonderful. How many times a week we wake up in the morning with the intention, I must reach enlightenment. And during the day, that's our main priority. Okay, how many times a month? Or maybe a year? Or how many times in our life have we ever done it, if we have done it? I'm quite sure if we have done it sometimes, then it happened quite many times also. But the point is that one of the main enemies, let's call it like that, of our own path, it's our laziness. Laziness is not the fact of not doing anything, it's also the fact of distracting our mind from the main point of our objective. So normally there are 4 different types of laziness. There is the laziness which is simply declared laziness. I don't want to do, I am lazy. Okay, simple one. Then there is the other type of laziness in which we say, oh yes, it will be so important for me to sit down and meditate. I will do it, but not now. So finally I almost never do it. Then there is the other type of laziness in which we say, oh yes, it's so important to do this. Let's take, for instance, meditation. Yes, I need to do the meditation. That's so important, so good. But now I cannot do it because I need to clean my room, because I need to watch the movie, because I need to see the news, because whatever excuse we find. So we do something useless in order not to do something really useful. And we are full of excuses normally. Then there is the other type of laziness, the 4th type of laziness, which is, oh yes, this is so important for me, but I am not capable. I would love to meditate every day, but I am not able to do. So we bring ourselves down because actually we are lazy of putting the effort necessary to make it happen. So what's the main antidote for laziness? The antidote for laziness is effort, joyful effort. Is to have joy in putting energy into that. Where is effort coming from? Effort is a result of, with Tibetan we call it Tönjer Gedumpa, which is the aspiration of desire, which means to have a wish, to have the desire, to have the determination, I must get it, I must do it. When we have the wish for something, when we desire something, when we aspire for it deeply, strongly, then we put effort. So normally, if we see that we are lazy about something, why are we lazy about it? Because we don't want it. Simple as that. What happens when we want something so much? Do we put effort to get it? Yes. When we fall in love with something or with someone, do we put effort? Sure. So, the point is that in order to have effort, to put energy into something, we must desire it, we must wish it, we must aspire for it. Then, in order to aspire for something, we must believe in it, which means to have faith. Faith is one of the most important qualities on our path. Because having faith doesn't mean just to believe in something blindly. It means to believe in the existence, in the qualities, and in the functions of something. For example, if I am thirsty, in order for me to put effort and to walk miles in order to get water, first I need to wish to have water. I need to aspire for water. In order for me to aspire for water, I must believe that water exists. I must believe that water can really take away my thirst. Otherwise, am I going to walk for a long time for water? No. So if I am extremely thirsty, would I walk 1 hour to get some water? 2 hours? 1 day? Sure. Why? Because I have faith in water. I have faith that water will quench my thirst. So I go for water. I put the effort. I wish it, I desire it, and so I put my effort to get it. So faith is to believe in the existence, in the qualities, like water being fresh and clean and so on, and the functions, the potential of it, like water can quench away our thirst, can quench our thirst. So this is something that we see the benefits of it. Similar to that, when we say to have faith in Buddha, it's not like having faith that Buddha is there and he can do something for me. So please, Buddha, take care of me. Please, Buddha, do something for me. When we have faith in Buddha, at the same time, it means having faith in our own potential of enlightenment. When we say having faith in Buddha, the one that shows us the path, having faith in the Dharma, the path to follow, having faith in the Sangha, the spiritual company during our path, it all comes back somehow into having faith in our own self. Having faith that we can do it. We can make the difference. If we look into the words of Buddha, I've never found anywhere where Buddha was saying, oh look, I am someone so special. I am different from everyone else. So please, if you have faith on me, I will bless you, but do not even expect to become something like me. What Buddha was saying is like, I have done a path. If you like, I can share with you the steps that I did, so you can follow the same steps and you can reach what the same state that I have reached. This was what Buddha was saying. So Buddha was showing to us, look, you can make it. Each one of us, we have the potential to reach enlightenment. We have the potential to become a Buddha. You have the potential to get out of suffering. You do have this potential. So when we talk about having faith in the Guru, it's the same thing. Buddha put a lot of effort into showing the path through the relation between Guru and disciple, master and disciple, which is showing that there is someone that is here. For example, when I think about my masters, they are all human beings, same as me, made of bone and flesh, that have put a lot of effort in their study, in their meditation, in their practice, in helping others, and they have developed great, great, great qualities. Maybe not in one lifetime, maybe in many lifetimes, for sure. But they have developed such great qualities that I want to reach also. So what are they showing to me? We did it, you can also do it. It is possible. And then sure, sharing the path, explaining every detail, every aspect, how to make it. But the point of having faith is actually essential. Because when we have a very strong faith about something, we put our energy into that. When we have faith with no doubt, with no fear, our energy is fully in that direction. And then there is no mistake. There is no, even if we do something that technically somehow would be a mistake, finally it goes in our favor even. When we have full determination of faith, sometimes. It's like when we really believe in something, our full energy goes for that. It's like we say also in our Western culture, the power of faith. No? It's something incredibly powerful, which we could somehow connect also to the power of our own mind. When we have totally certainty about something, it goes. It's like, I didn't say this in Italian, but I was just remembering now. Once I was in a congress and there was a doctor. And he was explaining about one research which was made on patients that had cancer and were able to cure completely from the cancer without having the cancer back again. And then they made a research going to see all the patients that had this from all different types of treatments, from chemotherapy to whatever other types of treatment. Like they went through all different types of treatments of patients that were able to cure, because they said if they are using different treatments and they all got cured, there should be something in common between them. So they went to research what was in common, the diet or the type of medicine or whatever, and so on. And finally, the final conclusion of this scientific research was that the only common thing was there between all the patients that were able to get fully cured from their disease, was that they were certain that that was the correct cure for them and that they would be able to get cured. That was the only thing in common. They all had full faith in what they were doing. Okay? So even if we look from this point of view, we should not talk about the spiritual path here, we are talking about something very physical, which is the body and a sickness and so on. The power of the mind, it's something so incredible. And one of the things that destroy the power of our mind is doubt, is uncertainty. Okay? So, this is why faith is so important also. When we have certainty about something, when we have a determination about it, we put the energy in an incredible way. It's like the story of this woman, the mother of a monk, that she sent her son to study in the monastery, and she was living in a faraway place, so it was like a few months walking to reach the monastery. So when the son was quite small, someone was going to the monastery, so she sent her son together to give him the best opportunity in life. And around when he finished all his studies, like 25 years later, he came back to see his mother. So when he reached the village, he went there, he found his mother, and his mother was already quite old, and but she didn't have any money to eat. No tsampa, nothing, she didn't have much to eat. But she said that one day, some Lama, someone passed by, and taught her how to make stone soup. So she was taking the stones, cooking the stones, and making some specific prayer and mantra, and then the stones will melt within the soup and become a nice soup to drink, which would nourish her. So he was quite amazed, because actually this was a practice that it exists actually inside the Kangyur, which means the sutras of the Buddha. There is the mantra to make stone soup somewhere. So there's a whole part of the Kangyur have all these magical type of things, like strange type of things. Anyhow, there is this stone soup part. So he was quite amazed that his mother was being able to do stone soup. So he went and he looked how she was doing, and he saw that actually she was doing the mantra not in the really right way. She was really not reciting them correctly and so on. So he thought, okay, look, if she's doing with the wrong way and still being able to make this soup, imagine if she's doing the right way. Oh, wow, the result will get even better. Maybe the soup gets more tasteful. No? So anyhow, he went to his mother, and he said, look, you are not very wonderful what you do, but the mantra is not really correct. You need to do it that other way. She was like, oh, thank you very much, and so on. So then he went to see someone else, and he came back after a week. In Tibet, going to see someone, even it was in the nearby village, everything took time, walking through the mountains. So anyhow, he came back after a week. And then he saw his mother very weak, very thin. And then he asked, what happened? He said, oh, this soup is not working anymore. I put the stones in the water, I do the prayers and the mantras as you taught me how to do it the correct way, and the stone is just stone. No soup is coming out of it. And then he looked and he understood that actually in the moment he said that she was doing it the wrong way, he put doubt in her mind. So he shook her faith. She was no more certain about what she was doing. So then he said to her, oh, sorry, let me check again. Then he went and he came back and said, look, I did a mistake. The way how you were doing was really the right one. I really did a mistake, the way how you were doing, then he repeat the other way how she used to do it. He said, that's the way how it should be, and so on. The master that taught you was really the best one, blah, 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 whatever way. And then finally she got back her security, her certainty, her faith in herself and what she was doing. And there she was once again with her stone soup. This is one of the many stories which exist telling about the power of our faith, of our determination. But the main point which I want to reach here is not only the importance of faith. It's the fact that some people may say, oh, but faith, or you have it or you don't have it. No, that's not true. Faith is a quality that we can and we should develop. We can cultivate our faith. We can develop it. It's not something that comes out of the blue. It's not something that, or you have it or you don't have it. No. Faith is something that we can cultivate, as many, many other things of our mind. Faith is something that we can actually develop. We can and we should cultivate it. Because faith is to believe in the existence, in the power, and in the qualities of something. So, we need to remember ourselves. And then there are different methods in order to help us to cultivate and to develop our faith. I have never seen anyone that have faith like this from one day to the other, full faith. Very difficult. It's something that we need to develop. And in our own process, even when we have quite a good faith, still there are some doubts that come sometimes. Still there are some holes here and there. And then we need slowly to close these holes, to develop our own certainty, to develop our own faith in this way. You know? I remember one disciple of Rinpoche, a lot of faith, really 100%. And it was so interesting because when talking to him, he was never the person that had really studying well or making the practices and so much of that, but he was so much faith in his own way. And then finally, he had his own understanding quite good about things. He was going in a very good direction also. Instead, there are some other people which I have seen also that maybe the person have a very good knowledge, a very good understanding about many things, but then don't have really much faith, because one of the enemies of our faith is our arrogance. Oh, I know so much, so I know more. So in the moment, the more I know, the more I judge, the more I try to find faults and mistakes in others. So then slowly I don't have any more much faith in my own gurus, in the Buddhas and everything else, and slowly here I am finding the mistakes in the Buddhas. And saying, oh look, they were not like this, they didn't say like that, it should not be in this way because I think I am better, because I have such a great knowledge, and so on. And what I lose with that is my own faith, which is my own determination. But we need to remember that having faith doesn't mean to put ourselves completely, to give up on ourselves and just say, okay, I am on your service or something like that. To have faith means to believe that I can do it and you can show me. To believe that it's possible to reach enlightenment. To believe that it's possible to develop our qualities, and that's the main goal that we have. This is something that is very important for these two aspects always to go together, because they are actually one of the same thing. Okay? Because Buddha himself, he said, for example, Buddha said, I am not saying that the gods don't exist. Brahma, Vishnu, Indra, or whatever other great gods. I'm not saying they don't exist. My only point is that they cannot take you out of suffering. Only you can. In the same way, we're not saying that all the Buddhas don't exist and the holy beings don't exist. Sure, they exist and they can bless us. But they cannot take us out of suffering. Only we can. So the two things goes together. To see the Buddha as someone that was able to reach enlightenment, and to see him as a reflection of what I can become. And the two things go together. And the Guru is the one that makes the bridge for us. is the one that makes the connection, that shows us that this is possible, is someone that is here with us, that we can touch, that we can listen, that we can get nearby, that can show us, oh, really, this is something that is possible. Not in one day, not in 1 year, most probably not in one life. I know that nowadays, especially, we want things for yesterday, or things must be ready, and someone may say, oh, but if I'm not able to have much result in 1 year, then what's the point? The point is that anyhow we need to live, no? In this life, in other lives. So what's the choice that we have? Or you live every life going each time more and more near to a state of peace and satisfaction and joy and balance and so on. Or you just let your time pass and getting each time more and more deep into samsara. Choice. So there is not the point, oh, it takes too long. This too long doesn't exist. It's just as we experience our life and our existence, better to go in a good direction instead of going in a bad direction. Simple as that. But it's actually much sooner than we expect. Because if we put the truly right effort, we can get so much result. I have my own experience. I think we all have our experience when we really put our mind into practicing, into doing the meditations well, into really not giving much space of our mind for stupid thoughts and so on. We change so fast. But for that, we need faith, because we need determination, because we need effort. So we need to cultivate our faith. This is something that it's very, very precious. It's something very important for all of us. Okay? I think it's quite clear. No? As we go through the process of developing faith, which is something very important, as we have said, faith is an incredible quality. And it's not something obvious. It's not something that you have faith and then right away you just wish it and you develop faith like this. It's something that we need to cultivate. It's something that we can develop. Okay? And for this, there are some practices. And now, these days, we are making the commentary on the Guru Puja. The Guru Puja is a practice of meditation with recitation and visualization. And one of the objectives of the Guru Puja is to cultivate and develop our faith as the basis for our path. So, it's not something that it's so obvious. It's something that we need to cultivate. It's something that is not coming like spontaneously out of nothing. And one important thing, like, in order to be able to have faith correctly, we need to have merits. There is a saying in Tibetan which it says, Sonam gi kyobda, sonam gi ma kyoba. Sonam gi ma kyoba means the person is not able to sustain the situation because has no merits for it, no merits to sustain the conditions. This is an example, for instance, a person that has all the positive conditions, good health, people that love him or her, is in a good condition in many, many ways, but still is not able to be happy with all the conditions that the person has. It's like everything is good, but still not able to enjoy it, not able to experience it, and sometimes even put the energy to destroy the conditions that are there. This, in Tibetan, is said, the person doesn't have the merits to sustain. Sonam gi kyokyo mare. So the person doesn't have the merits to sustain the conditions, so somehow the person will end up seeing it negatively and reacting to it negatively instead of being able to enjoy. It's like you go to do the most beautiful vacation and you are not able to enjoy it because the mind is fixed somewhere else and is not able simply to sustain the happiness of what is there. So, in order to have real, deep, pure faith, we need merits. It's not coming out of nothing. Sure, with faith we generate more merits. This is another thing also. Maybe some of you may remember some lessons. Now we are in the 4th weekend on the Guru Puja. Some time before, I had some long explanation about the meaning of merits and what does it mean to accumulate merits, the importance of merits. And actually the word merit is even a word that is not very well translated. It's punya in Sanskrit, sonam in Tibetan, which means positive energy generating the right causes to gain the results of joy and happiness and so on. But the point is that without merits, we cannot sustain any positive and pleasurable situation and condition. Even though all the conditions may be there, if we do not have the merits, it will not be sustained. So to develop pure faith, we need merits. Like in the Guru Puja, we have reached now verse 43, I think, and how the part in which is called requesting the blessings. And and before that, we just check. Yeah, verse 43. And before that, we have gone through the whole part, which is the preliminary practices, generating the right motivation, refuge, bodhicitta, generating ourselves as the deity, recognizing our potential of enlightenment, purifying the environment, purifying the offerings, visualizing the merit field, inviting all the holy beings to come here, making prostrations, offerings, admitting our own mistakes, purifying our negativities, rejoicing of the virtues and positive actions of ourselves and of all holy beings, sentient beings of ourselves, requesting Guru Buddha to remain with us until the end of samsara, requesting Guru Buddha to give us teachings, dedicating our merits for the enlightenment of all sentient beings. So, this is more or less where we have reached up to now, which is generating the motivation, preliminary practices within which there is also making the visualization of the merit field, inviting the holy wisdom beings, and then the 7 limb prayers. That's where we have reached. And this part is basically related to the accumulation of merit, a great part of it. And accumulation of merit is necessary also before we make requests, because making the requests of blessing is a way to cultivate our faith. And to keep faith, to develop faith, we need merits. It's not something that comes out like that. And somehow it makes me remember like many of the great masters of the past and of the present also. They had such great faith. It's not something like, okay, their faith is something for beginners. No. When I think about Papunka Rinpoche we have depicted here, it's on our looking in the left side near Pensionos and Gelsen. There is Papunka Rinpoche. Papunka Rinpoche was the guru of Kyabche Trichan Dorje Chan, which was the guru of Lama Ganche Rinpoche and many other masters. And in the time of Papunka Rinpoche, there was almost no one that was not a disciple of Papunka Rinpoche within the Gelupa tradition. Sure, there were some, but anyone that met him and was nearby him ended up being his disciple, because he was so incredible in his way of teaching and his qualities and so on. So, we take the guru of the gurus, such an incredible teacher, Papunka Deche Nyingpo. Papunka Rinpoche, his name that was given to him was Deche Nyingpo, which means the heart essence of great bliss. No? So Papunka Rinpoche, Deche Nyingpo, when he would go to see his guru, he would go walking to the monastery of his guru, and when he reached, not the monastery yet, but going through the mountains, there is one point where there was like the monastery was there in the mountain, and then there is a big, you go through a mountain, and then there you have this, Tangchembo, this valley. Okay? In Tibet it's like this, there's all of mountains, valleys and mountains, and suddenly the monasteries normally are just in the, the bases of a mountain, have a valley, so in the end of the valley, nearby the mountain is the monastery normally. So when he would go to the mountain, in the first moment where he reached the valley and he's able to see the monastery of his guru, from the first moment he was seeing the monastery of his guru, he would start to make prostrations. So he would make one long prostration, then he would stand up, 2 steps. One other long prostrations, come back, 2 steps. Another long prostrations, come back 2 steps, until he reached the place where his guru was. When he would go away, he said that he would do the same thing, walking backwards. One prostration, 2 steps back. One prostration, 2 steps back. And it's said also that he would have tears in his eyes, both when going and when coming back. No? So, and this we are talking about such a great master, Papunka Rinpoche, and he was like, and he like in all his life, during all his studies, which were like more than 20 years in the monastery, he never lacked going to one session of a puja or a debate. Actually, only one time, when his mother was sick and he was serving his mother. Otherwise, never. There was not like, oh, I am tired, I don't want, I have fever, or I have this, or I have that. No, nothing. And someone may say, oh, but this is because he was Papunka Rinpoche. No. He became the great Papunka Rinpoche because of this. It's the other way around. Which means faith, determination, aspiration, effort, result. The heart essence of great bliss. No? So Papunka Dechen Rinpoche is a great example, but so many other masters we could see that were able to do so much. And this came out of their faith, but for this they also need to accumulate merit. So within the Guru Puja, there is a practice of Guru Yoga. And the practice of Guru Yoga have many qualities and importance. And as I was reading in the commentary of the Guru Puja yesterday, it says that there are many parts of the Guru Puja there are many practices that are of benefit for us in order to accumulate merit and to request the blessings, to reach the realizations and so on. But from all these practices, and there are hundreds of citations saying that, the best practice is the practice of Guru Yoga. Is to request the blessings from our Guru as being inseparable of all the Buddhas. Recognizing that we have the same potential, the Guru is showing us that we can reach enlightenment too, not as something separately. Because sometimes we have the tendency to separate things very much, because also we come from our background of a monotheistic religion. And within our own backgrounds, we have the tendency to say, okay, God is there and whoever, and I am here, and we are totally not connected one thing to the other somehow. Maybe this is my mistake, as I say, but I have this sensation. In Buddhism, the point is that I am here, Buddha is there, but we are in the same level, in the sense we are in the same reality, and I can reach the state of Buddha. So this is something really very important in that. So we need to cultivate our own faith, our own determination on the path, our own effort, and by that we put really energy in our path constantly. One important thing, although, is that faith is not something that we have like this or we don't have it. Faith is something that we need to cultivate, we need to develop. Because some of us, we may feel a little bit guilty because our mind is not fully clear and without any doubts. Sure, we have doubts. We will go through it as we go through the text, but there is one verse in which is said that before we really truly take refuge, we need to wait 12 years of experience with one master. This doesn't mean that we should not officially or take refuge, or we should never go to a teaching or something like this. But it also means that to develop truly deep faith, it takes time. It's something that we need to cultivate. It's normal that we have doubts and we have fears and we judgments and so on. It's quite normal. It's part of our own path. And one of the beautiful things is that the more we go on, faith is the basis. It's the first step. But then as we go on to the path, we come back to develop it again and again. But it's something that we need to during the whole path. It's essential. Actually, even when Lama Tsongkhapa described the whole path to enlightenment in the Lamrim Chemo, the great exposition of the path to enlightenment, the gradual path to enlightenment, the whole path to enlightenment is divided into 2 parts. Most of the Buddhist teachings are very well classified. Like, okay, you have a sadhana, you have preliminaries, main practice, conclusion, then the preliminaries are divided into this, and that part, and so on. Similar to that, when we go to the gradual path to enlightenment, it's extremely well structured. And within this structure you have the gradual path to enlightenment is divided into 2. How to rely correctly upon the Guru, upon the spiritual guide, which actually the correct word is Shenyin in Tibetan. Shenyin means the spiritual friend, no? Which is, in Sanskrit, is Mitra. Mitra means friend, which comes from Maitri, which means love. No? So, the word guru, actually, the way how we use in Tibetan, which is called Shenyin. She means teacher. Nyen means friend. But She is like the friend that shows us the spiritual path. And the word friend is coming from the Sanskrit, mitra. Mitra is coming from the word in Sanskrit, maitri. So the friend is the one that loves us unconditionally. That's a true friend. Really, to be friend to someone in the true way means to love that person unconditionally. So this is when we talk about guru, if we really do the translation more clear. Shenyen Tenzul. Shenyen, which means the spiritual guide, the spiritual friend, the one that our friend that is showing us the path, that is guiding us, that is giving us the company spiritually. Shenyen. Tenzul is how to rely upon. How do I rely upon the guru correctly? So the whole path to enlightenment is divided to how to rely correctly upon the guru, and once having relied correctly upon the guru, how to follow the path. So relying correctly upon the guru is not one of the parts of the path, it's the basis for the path. So how to rely correctly upon the guru, the instructions are divided into two parts. How to rely correctly upon the guru. Once having relied correctly upon the spiritual friend and upon the guru, how to follow the path. It's divided into these two parts. And how to rely correctly upon the guru, it's giving all the explanations of the benefits of relying correctly upon the guru, the faults of not relying correctly upon the guru, and so on. Lama Tsongkhapa explained this very extensively. Why? Because it's not something that comes spontaneously out of nothing. It's something that we need to cultivate in our life. I remember very clear one time I was with one of my gurus, my teachers in the monastery, Geshe Tupte Rinchen. And then he was giving teaching, I think was about the 6 yogas, the six session Guru Yoga. Anyhow, we were around like 70 monks. His room was packed. He had a little big room, like a small, prayer place where he would give his classes and teachings and sleep and do everything there. Anyhow, it was completely packed. And then suddenly all monks and lamas and we were all there. He was the teacher in the monastery of almost every lama of Serabe monastery was his disciple actually. He's still one of the very great masters. And he was giving us these teachings and suddenly he came and he asked us, who here is Buddhist? Is anyone here Buddhist? So we were looking to him like saying, Genla, what are you saying now? Look at us. Look where we are. Look what we are doing. I think we are Buddhist, aren't we? And then, sure, no one answered. And then he said, I'm not sure if I am Buddhist. Because the true meaning of being Buddhist is to take refuge in Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha and in the Guru from the deeper aspect of our mind and heart. I'm not sure that I do it. It's to rely upon fully. And I do believe he did it because for me he has always been the example of a great practitioner. But what happens is that what he was explaining to us and showing was that to take refuge, to have faith, it's not something that comes from one day to the other. It's something that we need to cultivate daily. Because it's not spontaneous in our mind. Once we develop to a certain level, then it becomes very stable. But up to the moment that we get there, It's something that we need to cultivate gradually. No? So, and if we look to all the great masters, all of them, they had their moments of difficulties. Even, like if I remember one of the histories of one of the greatest masters that we know, like his story, which was Milarepa, is so well known. Everyone gets, of all traditions, have deep respect for Milarepa. But Milarepa didn't have necessarily an easy path. He had a great potential. And when he reached Marpa saw this great potential in him. But he was covered, his mind was all blocked, covered with a lot of negative actions that he did. He killed many, many people. He still had the hatred of, how do you say in English, revenge? No? The hatred of revenge, vendetta, of revenge. And he was like, so he had a very strong potential, but he had this very negative karma that he did by killing so many people, and this negativity is in his mind so strong. So Marpa found a way to say, okay, I need to find a way how to show to Milarepa, how to help Milarepa to take away these negativities in order to have the space and the clarity in the mind in order to be able to practice the Dharma correctly. So the way that Marpa found was a very non-conventional way, which in that case worked perfectly. This is also showing us how very often a spiritual guide with true love and compassion can use the most non-conventional methods, and when they have the right connection and the right wisdom, it works. So Marpa was quite hard, actually very hard on Milarepa in the beginning. Milarepa wanted very much to learn the Dharma and so on, and anytime he would come, Marpa would say, what are you doing here? You don't have the merits to be here. You don't have... Why are you here? You go to do the job that I gave to you. Like he gave, okay, you build a house. So building a house meant take the stones, go to this place, build a house alone by himself. And then by the end of the house, Marpa would look and say, no, it's not. Why did you do like this? Who told you to do such a house? Bring every stone to where you did it. Then after he said, build another house in another way. And he was making the house in the shapes of the elements. Actually was a whole practice of purification. And in the whole this process, Milarepa tried suicide more than once. He reached to the point of trying to suicide himself because he was so desperate. So he also had his doubts. Lack of faith in himself and in the Guru, and what am I doing here? Is this right or wrong? And so on. He had such a strong faith that Marpa would put him out. Like one time he entered to receive teachings, like if we were in the Gompa, and he would come in. And then Marpa said, who told you to come here? You have an offering to bring or something like this at least? And then he had not really anything. And then he would go there, and Marpa would put him out of the Gompa by kicking him and punching him. Quite violent, actually. But this was the method that Marpa had that really made Milarepa. He was not doing this to everyone. He was doing this specifically to Milarepa. But through this, Milarepa was able to go beyond his faults and his negativities. And after, he became the best disciple of Marpa. And he reached enlightenment in that same lifetime. The point is that, first, we never know the methods that are used. Like, once there is true wisdom, it's difficult to really understand. The other thing is that even Milarepa, that had been the example of great faith, had his moments of doubts and difficulties also. So it's normal that we may also have it. But that's why we need to cultivate our faith. We need to cultivate our respect, our gratitude, and all of this. And remember that all the great masters, they reached where they reached through their effort. I remember, for example, Kachin Losang Sepa Rinpoche, the abbot of Tashilhunpo Rinpoche, one of the greatest persons that I have ever met in my life. Really, for me, I think not many people that are here met him. I think Tiziana met him, and Tutla met him. I don't know. In India, he was the abbot of Tashilhunpo in India. One of the gurus of Rinpoche, one of the greatest persons that I've ever met, really in all levels. Wisdom, compassion, so kind. Really, really, really very, very special. And also Rinpoche, when he passed away, And now we went to his room, some months after he passed away. And the Rinpoche was there. Rinpoche was crying like a child. Like, he was a very special person for many people, really, really. And like even in India, where all the great scholars of the great monasteries of Sera, Ganda, and Dripun, they would come, when they had doubt about something, they would go to him to ask. He had like such great knowledge. When all the abbots would meet together, he would be the one most respected. He would be the one most simple of everyone. He had his clothes all old clothes and very simple, come walking and like this, but everybody would put him in the first place, full of respect. But when we go to see, when he was young and he was studying, he didn't have money to buy butter or oil to make an oil lamp or a butter lamp. But he would wake up every day, much before dawn, and he would study. So how he would read the books? He would put one incense, light one incense, and then he would go with the incense nearby the text. And then he would read it, and then he would memorize it. And like this, he memorized thousands of pages. Okay. What I want to say is that when we look at great masters, they become what they become because of the effort that they put. The effort that they put is a result of the wish, the desire, the determination they have, which is a result of their faith. So faith is essential. Faith is so important, and it's something that we can and we should cultivate. Okay? And based on that, with something that I just wanted to specify that, because sometimes we may feel guilty because we don't have a perfect faith and we may have doubts and so on. That's normal. It's part of our path. It's part of our process. It's not something that comes out from one day to the other. And actually this whole thing about faith and relying correctly upon the Guru and so on is something that very often is not taught in the West, because they have this idea that if we teach about this, then it looks like, in this case, I am explaining, it looks like I am saying, oh, you almost have faith on me or something like that. That's not the point. The point is that each one of us, in our own path, I'm talking here like together, we need to have faith. That's something so important for ourselves, not for anyone else. That's what really gives us the possibility to do things, to get the results, to follow the path correctly. The power of faith, the power of the mind, it's so, so amazing, so incredible. So it's something that we need to cultivate. Okay? So now, we go to the actual text. Verse 43, we're not going to see the whole thing now, we need to go for lunch soon. But still. So, as we do the part of the requests, we will not go now through all the verses, we will do that just after lunch, but it is actually divided into 4 parts. The actual verses, it's going from verse 43 up to verse 54, okay? And in these verses, they are divided, the practice of making requests is divided into 4 parts, which in Tibetan we say, Penyu danyebi sambe gone tegu sol taptes tsengage gone tuyukulu soldep chatsul. Tamboche nibani yunten dan kadri jesun drembe gone solwa depsu. Somba chilan sawate kona nyege gone solwa depsu. Shiba purutsu soldep gone tinge zingi wangshi lembe tsulos. So, we have divided into 4 parts. The 4 parts are, the first one is making requests to Guru Buddha in order to get his attention by reciting the name mantra, and also by reflecting upon the benefits of relying correctly upon the Guru and the faults of not relying correctly upon the Guru. which basically what we do at this point is that before we start reciting the verse number 43, it's not obliged to do that as we do the Guru Puja, but it's possible that at this point, it's part of the practice also, we do the mantra of the Guru, which traditionally here we do the mantra, the prayer request mantra of Lama Tsongkhapa, which is Mime Tsewe Terche Chenrezi Trime Kimbe Wampo Jambelian Dubu Malo Jumse Sangweda Kanche Kebe Tsuge Tsongkhapa Losan Trabe Shabla Solwa Deb. Or we can make also the longer version. Ngodrup Kunjun Tuan Dorcha Mime Tsewe Terche Chenrezi Trime Kimbe Wampo Jambelian Dubu Malo Jumse Sangweda Kanche Kebe Tsuge Losan Tra Kebsun Kundo Lama Sangela Gosun Gobe Gone Sawade Ranshi Mijin Rowa Jingelo Chudan Tumongo Tsadu Sol. Or we can make more simple version. We can make only the root mantra, for example, the mantra of Lama Tsongkhapa, Oma Guru Buddha Sumati Kirti Siddhi Hum. Or we can make the Guru mantra of our own Guru, like mantra of Rinpoche, we do Oma Guru Vajradhara Sumati Munisha Sane Karma Uta Vardanya Shribada Varsamanya Sarva Siddhi Hum. Or more simple, we can only do the mantra Oma Guru Buddha Siddhi Hum. Okay? So independently of what is the mantra that we will do at this point, there is a part of the visualization and the part of the inner attitude that we put as we recite the mantra. The part of the visualization that we do is that we visualize there is Guru Buddha in front of us. In his heart is Buddha Shakyamuni, in the heart of Buddha Shakyamuni, Buddha Vajradhara, and then in the heart of Buddha Vajradhara, there is the syllable Mam, and in the tigle of the Mam, in the little zero of the Mam, there is the syllable Hum. Or if it's more simple, we just visualize directly the Hum also, okay? But the most important part of visualization is that from the heart of Guru Buddha comes a flow of nectar. And this nectar, it's coming or to our heart or to our crown. And as it fills completely our body, this nectar, it's purifying all our negativities. We can visualize in this way from the heart of Guru Buddha or from his 5 chakras, the 5 colors nectars coming to our 5 chakras also. Both of the ways is possible. Okay? The important thing is as the nectar flows, enters through our body and fills completely our body, all our negativities are completely purified. Especially, we concentrate on all the negativities related to our own spiritual guide. Which means all the negativities that we have accumulated by not respecting physically our Guru and maybe creating physical harm, or all the times that we did not respect his speech and we broke his speech, like in many different ways, like not listening and not allowing to talk, or not respecting his words, or the times that we, in Tibetan they say tuk trupa. Tuk is mind, truk is to shake with the mind, the times that we shaked the mind of our Guru, which if we use in a very mundane way, would say the times we made him nervous or angry or something like that. Or, which is not the correct way of saying, we say the times that we shaked the mind of our Guru. Or the times that we lacked faith and we lacked respect and we lacked gratitude and we have our own doubts and so on. So all of this is actually the negativities, which basically is normal during our path, before we don't have a real stable faith. There are moments in which we have doubt. And it's like if we imagine a normal friendship, and then in a friendship there are moments of difficulties, and within these moments of difficulties of the friendship, we create doubts, we have judgments and so on. And it's like if this symphony between us and the other person sometimes gets some interference with the signal. So it's not totally pure, the connection. There is some little doubt, some little fear, some little judgment here and there. And then it's really the symphony, it's not really there. There is some sort of interferences in between in the connection. And we need to clear this away. So in this moment, as we do this nectar flow, this rain of nectar coming to us, it purifies all the negativity, especially any sort of conflict of negativities that we have generated between ourselves and our spiritual guide and our gurus and Guru Buddha. Any negativity, it's completely purified, completely eliminated. And it's not in the sense of generating a sense of guilt. Oh, I have done this, that's bad. That's not. It's exactly the other way around. It's like taking away the heaviness. making it clear, making it pure and transparent, taking away any impurity, any interference that there may be between us and Guru Buddha. Okay? So, this we do as we do the mantra. We recite this, and it's important to remember, it can happen and it's normal to have some interferences in our mind and doubts and things between us and Guru Buddha. Otherwise, why would we be in the practice here, no? Since centuries and centuries and centuries and centuries, why Lama Tsongkhapa would have taught it if this difficulty was not there at his time. So it's normal, it's part of our own process. But because of that, we need to cultivate it purely, and because of that, we need to purify as we move along. So the first thing that we do is, as we recite the mantra of the Guru, the prayer request mantra of the Guru, we imagine that it purifies completely our negativities, and at this moment we can reflect also upon the benefits of relying correctly upon the Guru, the faults of not relying correctly upon the Guru. And then we can, and most of all, we just connect the pure relation. And imagine that any interference is completely taken away. It's completely pacified and purified. And they go out in the form of smoke and dirt from the porises of our body or from the lower parts of our body, and then dissolves into the earth or dissolves into space. And the negativities are completely purified. Okay? This is not something to do once. Actually, it's part of our daily practice. Okay? Because if the sooner we clear away any small interference in the signal, the easier it is to keep it clean. The more we keep it there, the longer it takes, the more it takes to purify it, also to make it clear. Okay? So this is this first part. And after that, we start from verse number 43, which is in which we make prayer requests to Guru Buddha based on recollecting his qualities and kindness. So by remembering and reflecting upon the qualities and the kindness of Guru Buddha, we make requests. And after that, we have the requests, which we make requests through in the outer way, inner way, secret way, and emptiness way. We make requests in these 4 ways. And then after that, we have the Purtsub Soldep, which is Könye Lama Könye Idam, which is the prayer request as one stake, which is like putting a stake on the ground where you hit it many times in the same place. It's like repeating the same request again and again, going back to the same point to make it stable in our mind. And by making these requests, we receive the 4 initiations through concentration, okay, and through visualization. So we'll explain this after. So we have, this is how this request part is divided, okay? So we have first part, requesting the blessings of Guru Buddha through the name mantra by reflecting on the benefits and the faults of actually first relying correctly upon the Guru and the faults of not relying correctly upon the Guru. And by this we clear away any pure negativity and interference there may be between us and Guru Buddha. Then after that we have second, requesting the blessings by recollecting the qualities and the kindness of Guru Buddha. Third, request the blessings by the external, internal, secret and emptiness way. And then fourth, we make the request of the blessings like a dagger or a stake, like repeating at the same point again and again and going deep within our mind. And by that, through concentration and visualization, we receive the 4 empowerments. So we will see this as we move along today and tomorrow. Okay? So we will just do a few times the mantra of the Guru, as we have explained this visualization, Miksema and the mantra of the Guru, and then we will do the dedications and stop for lunch. Okay? Mime tsewe terche chenre zi, me kembe wambo chambe liang, debo malyo jomse sangwe da, kanche kebe tsugen tsungapa, losan rabe shabla sowa de, mime tsewe terche chenre zi, me kembe wambo chambe liang, debo malyo jomse sangwe da, kanche kebe tsugen tsungapa, losan rabe shabla sowa de, mime tsewe terche chenre zi, me kembe wambo chambe liang,
Devo malio chomse sangwe da kanche kebe tsuken tsongkapa lo sandrabe shabla sowa de omo a guru buddha sumati kirti siddhi hum om a guru buddha sumati kirti siddhi hum om a guru buddha sumati kirti siddhi hum Om Guru Buddha Vajradhara Sumati Muni Shasane Karma Uta Vardanya Shri Bhadra Varsamanya Sarva Siddhi Hum Om Guru Buddha Vajradhara Timuni Shasane Karma Uta Vardanya Shri Bhadra Varsamanya Sarva Siddhi Hum Om Guru Dara Sumati Muni Shasane Karma Uta Vardanya Shri Bhadra Varsamanya Sarva Siddhi Hum Om Guru Vajradhara Sumati Muni Shasane Karma Uta Vardanya Shri Bhadra Varsamanya Sarva Siddhi Hum Om Guru Buddha Siddhi Hum Om Guru Buddha Siddhi Hum Om Guru Buddha Siddhi Hum Jetsun lame kutse rapten chi namkar trile chochur gepa dang losan tempe dreme sasung drove muse tatu ne gyur chi nimo dele tsendele nime kuyan delek shin nintsen taktu delek pe Concho sumge jingi lo, concho sumge ngodrup tsol, concho sumge trashisho. At dawn or dusk, at night or midday, may the three jewels grant us their blessings. May they help us to achieve all realizations and sprinkle the path of our lives with various signs of auspiciousness. Oma hun temba lame sangye rinpoche, kyoba lame tamcho rinpoche, trimba lame gendo rinpoche, kyamne kuncho sumla chopa, locho sambo pagyo trashe pa, tuche tembe trinle yarngo da, peke drolo zambe tseparach, panden lame shela chopa, kanshe trimba tsamgi chinangi parche kunsele she trinle nam, so tse gyache shukne ringa tse tensung kordan che la che pa ke la che chin so wa tabe to taso kanto nebe sa choter ne dan wibon tapso shiwa dan che dan trashi pelwar ze du